Hey there. Let me ask you a question. So, what does your house feel like when your man's getting ready to come home? Is it chaotic? Are the kids going crazy? Is there noise? Is there food everywhere? The breakfast dish is still in the sink? Like, what does it feel like to walk into your house after a long, hard day? Well, today I want to talk to you about how to make it so nice that he will be excited to come home to you, even if there's kids and chaos. Today on Moms Like Us Do Things Like This. Oh, I remember it well. The kids are all over. It's crazy in the house. I had a white kitchen floor. Why? I mean, I built the house. I knew it was going to have a white kitchen floor. What was I thinking with a bunch of little kids? Hi, I'm Mona Corwin, and I am your mom mentor. And I'm here to help you miss the pitfalls and the cow patties that I found myself into as I was a young mom. And one of those things was when my husband came home at 5 o'clock or 6. It was crazy in our house. I just couldn't get a grip on it. There was stuff on the floor. The garbage was overflowing. And the very first thing he wanted to do was help me by picking up the garbage and like wiping down the floor, which only made me feel worse because I knew that he noticed all the chaos and all the clutter and all the mess. It wasn't a fun thing to come home to at all. And I remember that day when I watched him grab a broom. The kids were crying. It was a mess. And I felt like I can't get a handle on this. There's no way for me to keep everything picked up. I could start at 4 o'clock, but you know how it is. By 4:30, they've got dumped the Legos and they've got peanut butter written on the cabinets, right? Yeah. Well, why did they do that? Stick finger in there. Like, why? They just do. They're kids. And so it was really, really hard for me to keep things in order. So when he came in, it wasn't so chaotic. Now, maybe your man doesn't really care if things are cluttered or messy or whatever, but what does the environment feel like? What does the atmosphere feel like when he's coming in the door after a hard day's work? I want to give you a few tips of what I did and some more things that I learned along the way. The first thing I want you to know is when he comes home, he's really tired. He's been at work all day. Now, I know you have been at work all day too. Whether you have your side hustle that you've been working on and taking care of the kids, or you've been gone all day and you just walked in the door. You know what? Together, we have to help each other. We have to help each other make that transition from the crazy chaos that really exists in the world and on the roads and the highway and the bosses and the clients to home where there is still some chaos, but it needs to feel different. And the way we do that is by creating an atmosphere of entry. It's an entry atmosphere where when we come in, we can at least take a deep breath and we can realize, hey, this is different than all the nutso on the outside of the world. You know how that feels? I wanted so much for my husband to walk in the door and shut that door and lean up and take a big deep breath and say, you know what? The world can't get me in here. The unpleasant, hard jobs that I'm doing, the negative comments that I'm getting from clients or things that have gone wrong, all of that doesn't exist because in here, they love me. They love me no matter what. And they're happy to see me. And they think I'm great. I wanted him to lean up against that door and say, the world can't get me in here. This is a safe place. This is an awesome place. This is a place of love and calm. And you know what? I worked really, really hard to do that. And I'm going to give you those tips. Okay, the first thing I want you to do is think in your mind, how do you want him to feel when he comes in the door? I saw a really cool saying by Martin Luther, who is like a, you know, the guy, the spiritual guy, but he actually had good practical advice for life and marriage and parenting. And one of the things he said was this: let the wife make the husband glad to come home, and let him make her happy. Let him make her sorry to see him leave. Let me say it again. Let the wife make the husband glad to come home, and let him make her sorry to see him leave. I love that because it really does go both ways. And while you can't decide what he needs to do, and certainly I wouldn't want you bossing your husband around, I want you to know that as you decide that you're going to make it good for him, interesting things happen. He wants to make it good for you. And we can make it good for another. Now, it might be that you just need to have a conversation about it. And that's kind of what we had in our house, especially that day when he picked up the broom. I just came unglued. Like I was overwhelmed. And I won't tell you all the story, but you can imagine there were a lot of tears. And I was angry because I was doing the best I could and I just didn't feel like I could do it. And you know what we came up with at the end of that day? We came up with this. Every day when my man got ready to come home from work, he would call me on the phone and say, "Babe, I'm on my way home." And that would give me just enough time to get things cleaned up. And, another thing that I did was when he said that, when he said, "I'm coming home," I immediately started setting the tone for what he could expect when he got there. And I would say something like, "I can't wait for you to get here." Or, "It's been kind of a rough day. I need my man." Or I would say other things that would make him smile. And you know what those are, right? It would help set the tone so that on his drive home, he would be thinking about what I had said. I didn't want him wondering every night, what kind of craziness am I walking into? I've already been chewed up by the world out here. What am I going to expect at home? You don't want him to feel that way. Does he? Does he feel that way? I got to be straight with you. You need to look at it in your heart and say, Lord, how does my man feel when he comes in the door? What can I do to make him feel excited about coming home, glad to come home? Show me, Lord. There's a scripture that says, it's Proverbs 14:1, and it says, "A wise woman builds her home, but a foolish one tears it down with her own hands." It's one of those foundational scriptures that we have for the Moms Like Us Academy. And if you're not familiar with that, there will be a link and you can go ahead and check it out. It's a great place to learn things just like this, only on a more in-depth level, where we have experts that teach these things and actually marriage counselors and all that other stuff. And I'm in there too, giving you good, practical mom advice. And so when you think about that atmosphere, think about that entrance. What do you want him to feel when he comes in the door as he enters into the environment of your home, both of y'all's home? As he comes in the door, it is perfectly okay for it to be loud. It is perfectly okay for it to be chaotic. And it is perfectly okay for there to be toys on the floor. Okay? You need to know that. And you know what? It's perfectly okay if you have laundry sitting on the table that hasn't quite been folded yet. It's the atmosphere he's walking into. Does he walk in and feel like your house is a warm hug? Like that the world can't get him in here. It would be wonderful if the kids were yelling and screaming and running to say hi to him. and the people that he loves the most are so happy to see him. I want to tell you something. Men are not complicated, sweetie. They're not. And the majority of men, you know what they want? They want to be loved by their wife, and they want to be loved by their children. They want to be respected. They want to know that what he's providing for them is enough, and it's good. Having an environment that feels like a warm hug doesn't mean that you completely redecorate like your favorite influencer. No, it doesn't. And it doesn't mean that like every nook and cranny is absolutely spotless. No, it doesn't. It's the environment of a warm heart. It's the relationship that you have with him. And most of all, what that man wants to see, he wants to see a smile on your face. That's what men want. They don't want to argue with women. They don't want to be cantankerous with women. Men really do want to please women. And I know this now more than ever, as I've watched my own boys have their own wives. And I know my boys. And you know, they want that girl smiling. They want her to be happy. And we have so much influence over how they feel. With cutting words, ooh, we don't want to do that, right? You've had a hard day. You know what? You can wait a few minutes to tell him. You can wait a few minutes. Now, there were plenty of times when I met this man that I love, that I've been married to now for 40 years, over 40 years, and 5 kids, 5, all grown, that I met that man at the door with my keys and my purse, and I said, I'm out of here. And I would get in my car and drive away. There were plenty of times that happened. But it wasn't the norm, and it shouldn't be for you either. Coming into a house, walking into the environment and knowing that he's loved and he belongs. Okay, so let's get practical. Use the 5 senses. When he comes in the door, what does he smell? Does he smell dinner cooking? Does he smell a candle? Easy things to do. You know, when I was in a hurry and I kind of didn't get everything ready on time, and I knew dinner was going to be late and all of the stuff, you know what I would do? It's a secret hint. And if you're my husband, close your ears. I would quickly pull out a pan and put some butter and some onions in it. Nothing smells better than that when you come in the door. And then I would quickly set the table as fast as I could. And I have the kids help. Because if the table's set, well, that means dinner's almost ready, right? Knowing that he's going to fill his belly and he's going to fill his mind and his senses is one of the ways that you can really help him to have an excellent entrance into his home. Another thing is what he sees. Okay, I already told you that what he really wants to see is your smile. And even if you've had a hard day, sweetheart, you can smile at the man that loves you and wants to be with you for the rest of your life. You're the woman he wants to die in your arms. Like, yeah, he does. He loves you. And if he doesn't, then marriage counseling is probably in line, and coaching for marriages. And there's nothing wrong with getting help for that. But he wants to see happy faces. Even if the kids are crying, you can smile and say, they're at it again. I'm super tired, but I'm so glad you're home. Do you see? Then the next thing is, what do they hear? Do they hear love in your voice, even if it's frustrated? Do they maybe hear some music? Like maybe the kids aren't crying. Maybe, like now for me, there's nobody at home. Well, I'm still working on what this entry looks like for him. I want it to be excellent for him. So I'll pick different music to have on, or I certainly don't have the TV on. And sometimes it's just real quiet, and I'm just standing at the door with a smile. I'm so glad you're home, honey. Doesn't that feel good just to even hear it? Wouldn't you love to hear that? Okay, so that's what he sees and what he hears. And then the senses of touch. Yeah, you're going to want to touch him. Touch is such an important and undervalued thing. Putting your hand on his shoulder, giving him a kiss, looking in his eyes. These are the things that make him feel like he's known, he's respected, he's anticipated, his coming home was anticipated, and that it's a pleasure to have him around. Sometimes I think we undervalue touch. You know, if it's not your love language, so what? It might be somebody else's. Just because, you don't have great eyesight, does that mean you never look to find a beautiful sunset? No, of course you do. You just have to do what you know will work. And touch is always a great thing. So let me see. I did hearing, seeing, touch, speaking. I already did that. What we say. Hearing, that would be hearing too. Okay, I think that's it. Those 5 senses are really instrumental in what taste. I forgot taste. Oh, well, taste is easy. The taste of some really good food. Men are not complicated. They'd like a really good meal. They'd like a loving once in a while. They want to see a smile on your face. And they really, really, honey, don't want to argue with you. Men just don't. There's this conflict for them is that they innately want to lead, feed, protect, and provide. Like they want to protect you. And when they have to fight, they want to fight like an enemy to protect you. They want to, defend and protect their family and their wives. And so when they're fighting with their wives, it feels wrong to them, which is why a man should never hit a woman, which is one of the reasons it's not a good idea. But it goes against his nature. And so not fighting with him as soon as he comes in the door is really, really a good thing. All right. I hope you've enjoyed this. You don't have to have a Pinterest perfect house, and you don't have to redecorate. And you know what? Even if you're not a really great cook, you can make it smell good in this house. I know you can. Plus, most of you have college educations and can read a recipe, learn to cook. And if you don't know how to cook, another reason to join that Moms Like Us Academy, because we do cooking stuff too. Oh man, we do lots of stuff in there. We do lots of things that will help you in your motherhood. Because, sweetie, motherhood is not a natural talent. It's a skill, and you can use it. You can learn it and use it for your benefit to make the entry experience of your husband good when he comes in the door at night, and help him to make him want to come home and anticipate the love and the joy that he's going to feel when he sees his family. Okay, that's it for now. I will talk to you later on Moms Like Us Do Things Like This. Bye for now.